Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. We are about to start our session, and this session is called Enhancing Digital Collections with DAM and CMS, Best Practices with Liechtenstein, I can't say that, Liechtenstein, the princely collections. And we have got a slight change to what it says on the slides in a minute. We're joined by Philip Axman from Zetcom, Michael Schweller from Liechtenstein, and Catherine Wessel from Photoware. Did I get that right? That was quite the tongue twister for me. My German's not great. So guys, over to you.
Okay, hello. My name is Philip. So this is Clara Serena, the daughter of Peter Paul Rubens, and she was painted in 1616, so she's now more than 400 years old. Although she had a tragic... Sorry. Okay, now you can hear me. Test. So this is Clara Serena. She's now more than 400 years old. Unfortunately, she already died at the age of 12. She's one of my most favorite painting of the Liechtenstein collection, and probably you have seen that already. Working in the museums and heritage sector, we know that some people can even live throughout the times, and Clara is a perfect example for this. Today, centuries later, she can be found in Vienna at the Palais Liechtenstein, where she's viewed only by the family, the royal family, and by people who enter on pre-booked tours. So if you're in Vienna, make sure you book a tour early in advance to actually have a look at her. As we all know, back in the 17th century, paint was incredibly expensive. And even though Rubens was a wealthy man, many of his paintings are done in smaller scale, which in this case with Clara Serena. Our commercial team of Zetcom, we had the pleasure to seeing her at the Palais of Liechtenstein in a workshop in Vienna in January. Now I would like to show you a picture on where she actually hangs in the Palais. It's taken by the cell phone of my colleague Rachel, who was supposed to do the presentation today, but unfortunately she became ill this morning. So probably if you see a slide with Rachel, it's me, Philip, now. I have a little bit shorter hair than her. So has anybody in the audience, and you can raise your hand, already had the opportunity to see the artwork live in person? Has anybody seen her? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, great. So with the limited access to her physically, either because she's not in public view or also blocked by different barriers, there is still an enormous amount of detail which you can take away from her image. Additionally, also Clara and other paintings like her need to be taken from time to time for restoration reasons, and the collection actually has made a considerable effort in building an extensive digital ecosystem. This enables people from around the world to browse, view, and study their artworks in great detail online at the website of the Liechtenstein collection. And today we're lucky to have with us special guest, registrar and exhibition manager at the Palais, at the Princely Collection, Mr. Michael Schweller. And thanks for joining us, Michael. May I first ask you how you actually came into the industry?
Thank you for having me today. Only some months after I've obtained my master in the history of arts, it came in the news that the Prince of Liechtenstein was about to move his famous art collection to Vienna. It had been locked away in his Vaduz castle for some decades, and he again wanted to make it accessible to the public. And that's why I offered my knowledge as an art historian and as a building engineer, and I was lucky enough to become the first registrar of the princely collections in 2003. Talking about Clara, I first met her in 2004 when she was unpacked from her climate crate coming from Vaduz Castle and just having arrived in Vienna.
Okay, and what makes it so special actually and also interesting to study her up close?
What makes this painting so interesting to me is the intimacy that you can feel when you see it, the intimacy between the sitter and the painter. The father painted his little daughter, and besides being a portrait, it is also a document of the relation between the two people. When you see at the painting, you see it. Parts of it are painted somehow hastily, the clothing and the background. So your gaze is centered to the face of the girl who stares at you, more or less. She is very directly looking at you, or maybe at her painter father. With today's high-resolution images, you can study such a painting in great detail. You can check how Rubens painted the somehow odd eyes of his daughter, or you can zoom in and see how he how he gave the impression of glossy lips with just a hint of paint on the right spot.
Yeah, so having these images or such as images play actually a key role in the success of the digital collection, which brings me to today's topic of the conversation, which is the integration between the digital asset management system and the collection management system, and how the Princely Collection have used such technologies to enhance their online experience. For those of you who I haven't met, my name is not Rachel Vukusic. Unfortunately, Rachel is in bed with fever. My name is Philip. I'm from Austria, and I'm head of sales at Setcom. And we deliver the collections management system to the Princely Collection. With me today, we're doing that for more than 20 years now, so we're very proud to have the Princely Collection as a customer. And with me today is also Katrin Wessel, the head of commercial of Photoware, who deliver the digital asset management systems to the collection, but also to museums and archives around the world, including the collection. Katrin, perhaps you could tell us a little bit more about what the DAM plays as a role in that sort of whole ecosystem.
Yes, thank you, Philip, and thank you all for joining today. It's fantastic to be here. So to start, let's distinguish a little bit about what does a collection management system do and what does a digital asset solution do. And in the illustration behind me, you can see there's some overlap in terms of metadata and data management. But the digital asset management system really serves as a hub for all your digital content. So that is everything that goes along with an artifact. That could be a high-resolution image, that could be a raw file, that could be marketing assets that doesn't belong necessarily in a collection management system. Maybe you need to share something with a third-party vendor or colleagues. You can do that safely within a DAM system. And going back to Clara, this is really a great example on how we can immortalize an artifact by using these digital systems together. And another success factor, obviously, is to have, competent people like Michael and his team that really invest in how they can utilize digitalization when it comes to digitizing artifacts and collections.
Okay, Michael, what would you say has been the most valuable result out of this integration for you from your point of view?
In my first years in the job, we didn't have any images in the CMS. So when you opened the CMS, you just had the descriptive text and you had to imagine how a painting looked. The paintings were locked away in folders on a server. So later we manually rendered JPEG versions of the images and manually imported them to the CMS, which, as you can remember, caused a lot of work and confusion. That's why when we first introduced the DAM software that is now called Photoware, Alto, I asked the providers to build an integration. The interface automatically copied designated assets into a hot folder from where Museum Plus would later fetch them. On the other hand, metadata, tombstone information about the artworks were exported, were written into an export file that was later imported into Photoware. Meanwhile, we have further developed this integration, so we don't only share information on artworks, but also on exhibitions. We share biographical information of artists, and we share vocabularies, lists of geographical names or biographical terms that can be used either to tag the artworks, but also the digital images. This integration has saved us a lot of time and has made sure that we had the digital imagery where we needed it and that we had the metadata where we needed it. For example, when we use PhotoWare as a tool for sharing images, which we do very often, they will always be labeled according to the last scientific opinion from Museum Plus. So if somebody changes a line in Museum Plus, the information will automatically be transferred to PhotoWare. So if I share a photo of a painting, it will be labeled in the right way. When we moved to the next version in 2022, the provider built a workflow that automatically determines the best image, the best available image of a painting, using a mix of criteria from various metadata fields. This is the main view of the collections module in Museum Plus. On the upper left, you see the standard image of the painting, and it is the integration with PhotoWare Alto that makes sure that this painting is always the best available image. If you want to see all the images, you can click on the text link under the standard image, and then PhotoWare Alto will open and will display all the available images, and they are all labeled according to the tombstone information from Museum Plus, as you can see here.
So, Katrine, how is the metadata actually stored in PhotoWare Alto?
Well, thank you. And as you can hear from Michael, metadata is crucial when it comes to provide critical details about provenance, rights, preservation, and so on. So PhotoWare Alto uses flexible metadata layers to manage data efficiently. That makes it possible to have different use cases, different sets of metadata layers for different use cases and or users. So you might not share the same information to all members of your PhotoWare solution, so it might be different from user to group, or user to user and group to group. So that the different user groups only see relevant fields. It also helps when managing and building workflows, as Michael talked about. And also it works really well when you want to integrate, right, to other systems and make sure that the right metadata fields are available. And this keeps metadata management efficient and tailored to different needs, and to allow key information to be presented together with the artifacts. So how does this work between PhotoWare and Museum Plus? So one of the benefits is for sure automatic tagging. So this is not AI, any fancy thing. This is just information coming from the collection management system based on business rules and unique identifier. And that could be an object ID, for example, right? And PhotoWare Alto can automatically then enrich and update metadata based on business rules. And this is both a huge time saver, but also make sure, most importantly, that the data is always correct and updated.
Okay, so thanks, Katrine. Now that we know how the systems are integrated, Michael, what was the impact, or how did you do that then as a next step with your website? What was following after this integration? Or what was the impact then for your online collection?
When we relaunched our website, we built integrations with both programs. Museum Plus via JSON exports provides the tombstone data for the artworks and biographical information on artists and names and dates of exhibitions to be displayed on the respective parts of our website. And on the other hand, PhotoWare provides the best image and sends it right into the CMS of our website. Take this collection of images of the portrait of Clara. As you can see, over the years we have collected masses of different images, ranging from snapshots taken during packing to X-rays or infrareds, up to the perfectly rendered high-resolution images that we use for publications. It is the automatism in PhotoWare that makes sure that only one and the best available image will be displayed on our website. As you can see here, besides the technical information and the short descriptive text, we also have links to other works by Rubens, for example. We see the location of the painting. We see bibliographical references. Yeah, here we see the related works. And the most important use of the high resolution image is this magnifier feature. We use Micrio, the high resolution viewer from Micrio, and here you can see you can go really into great detail of this painting.
Thanks for the detailed walkthrough. It's really impressive how Clara finally comes to the website and how she got connected between the two systems, or the three systems actually, or the four systems sometimes, and how rich and accurate the content can be displayed in online. Now that we have seen the end result on the website, let's take a step back and look how we got actually to this. What was the process of digitizing the whole collection?
The Princes of Liechtenstein have been collectors of art for over 400 years. And while we only have handwritten records for the first decades, a first printed catalogue of the gallery was published in 1767. For internal purposes, we still had card indexes and handwritten inventories. The princely collections are quite early adopters of digital collections management. So starting from the early 90s, the old card index was typed into some sort of database that was soon replaced by an early version of Museum Plus in 2000. I think we were one of the first customers of your company.
Yes, you were one among the first customers of Setcom. This time you used Museum Plus Classic before migrating to our web browser-based application Museum Plus in 2014.
We have finished to digitize our holdings not so long ago. Now we keep more than 30,000 datasets of artworks. For many years we had no images in the system, as I said before. The images were in several versions, in different formats, stored in different folders. So that's why we decided also to look for a DAM. And when we assessed the different solutions that were available on the market then, the USP of Picture Park, the predecessor of PhotoWare Alto, was that it was very able to connect with other software like Museum Plus.
And although Museum Plus supports the storage and linking of digital assets directly also in the CMS system, There are sometimes also limitations for actually using an optimized solution like Photoware Alto, especially when it's around very high resolution objects or crops that you need to do, or selecting best images through specific workflows or automation. So this is actually the reason why a lot of customers decide to also include then or integrate with a digital asset management application. So like the Princely Collection has done. And with clients or projects like that, the Princely Collection have been able to also refine the integration between the two systems and to better serve mutual clients.
Exactly. We are glad that the collaboration between these two companies and the integration of the two pieces of software has developed and deepened over the years. For us, being a private art collection, we see it as our responsibility to offer accurate, up-to-date and comprehensive information on our holdings that can be assessed by art enthusiasts from all over the world 24/7. With the collaboration of this CMS and this DAM and their integration with our website, we can manage our online database with a very reasonable amount of time required.
So Katrine, actually, how does Michael's feedback align with your experiences for other museums and digital collections?
Yeah, it aligns really well. We see a lot of challenges out there when it comes to museums and digitalization. One of them is, of course, outdated technology, not able to connect to systems. Also, lack of resources, and that's a big challenge. Also, balancing between the transformation and preservation. So, even if it's crucial to make your artifacts digital, it's also important to respect their ethical preservations, right? So, this can be difficult at times. We also need to make sure that the cultural heritage remain authentic and intact. And these challenges highlights the need for comprehensive and adaptable digital asset management solution. We also see that museums have significantly more data than a lot of the other vendors out there or institutions. And many classical dams or websites are not able to handle this or built to handle this. And Photoware Alto, which is the dam that Michael and his team is using, has the capability to separate the data from the assets, which allows museums to ensure that every data value is only added once. It saves a lot of time. And going back to Clara, so should new information come about, Clara, maybe you can find an old document or some new information about the material. It's really easy to update that data just by adding it once, because everything is connected. So that's fantastic. Another thing that we see a lot amongst museums is the need to storage manage many more assets than what you actually publish. And that's also something that we see a lot of museums have trouble with, where to store everything that is not used at the moment, or being, like you also showed us, Michael, with all the images of Clara. You can't have all of that in a collection system. And this is really where the DAM shines, because it allows you to manage a lot more from just one single interface.
Okay, Michael, back to you. What measures have you taken to ensure that people working with the collection starter are able to do their tasks more efficiently? I know that you're a super admin of the system, and we have worked on the project many years already together. Do you have any other collaborators at the museum that work with the collection data?
Yes, we do not only store photos of artworks, but also photos relating to conservation treatments or to exhibitions. As you can see here, photos relating to the conservation of a painting. So a conservator can look up information about the last treatment, or an exhibition designer can check the design of previous shows. As of today, we store more than 200,000 assets with a total size of 17 terabytes. To better navigate this huge number of images, Photoware offers so-called channels. This is a combination of filters that exclude certain assets according to their metadata and a specific design of the search tab for this specific channel.
Thank you very much, Michael, and also Katrine, for all the insights today. And I speak for everyone when I say that it's not a simple task to keep track of the amounts of assets and also information. It can be quite overwhelming sometimes. And the fact that we're able to access all of this now is such a visually pleasing and user-friendly way. It's really a testament to how far technology has gotten us. And I think it's also worth noting that making Clara accessible to the world is not the end of the story. It's rather actually, I would suggest, it's actually the beginning. We're now bringing her to life digitally because the tech world never stops innovating. And as many companies in our sector, we're continuously looking for ways to make digital collections more engaging, more interactive. And the core of this integration, such as CMS and DAM, is ensuring different ways and talking to each other and to make sure we're driving this innovation. At this time, we're happy also to open the floor for any questions. So please feel free to ask any questions. Just raise your hand.
Thank you, Michael. Do we have any questions? Yes, we do.
Hi, thank you very much. I've got a question about, well, particularly to Michael actually. There's a lot of products out there that do similar. Either as a standalone CMS with DAMs integrated or with the two together. It's two separately. I wonder why you stay with your current providers and why you've chosen to add on to your original rather than looking at, or did you look at other competitors as well?
When we looked for the DAM, we had a survey of the market, and as I said, the USP of Picture Park, as it was called then, was that it was very able and even keen to interact and to connect with other software. Yes.
I've got another one at the front here. I'm going to be getting my steps in today.
Hello. So coming from a business development perspective, was there any resistance to the changes that you made when you implemented the systems in the organization, and how did you address those? Because that's something that a lot of people struggle with, resistance to change.
No, there was nothing worth mentioning, because even the colleagues that are less tech savvy, like some curators or conservators, they were happy that they could access their photos from all over the world, and they are also grateful that the information on the website is up to date. No problems.
Anybody else?
Sorry, thank you. Seeing the large number of assets and the extraordinary collection, which is well researched, have you made any attempts to use AI to empower your research or your exhibition, your curating?
Nothing serious. Just a little bit played around. Photoware offers an AI.
Yeah, like a tagging, you can do multiple languages. There are things you can do, but I think I mentioned this also in the presentation, that even though you can get a lot of info and data from AI, it's not necessarily the correct data. So you can add on, but what we want is to make sure that every artifact and object has the correct data at every step of the way. And that's not something we need to do with AI, because we do that with the connection and integration between the systems.
The problem is if you let the AI analyze a banquet still life by Jan Davids de Heem, it will say there's an apple, there's a crystal goblet, there's a parrot and a pear, and it will not say it's a banquet still life. So it's no use to us.
Anybody else? No, I don't think we do. So that just remains for us to thank our speakers, Philip, Michael and Catherine. Thank you ever so much.